Next year is the centenary of the outbreak of World War I, and today the BBC announced plans to mark that anniversary with a series of programmes. The University of Birmingham, with the largest war studies department in the country, has been closely involved. It has a war story of its own to tell. Kath Mackey has more.
The University of Birmingham on a peaceful day. A young generation embraces life in the place where a previous generation fought to save it. The first convoy of casualties arrived in September 1914, injured in the first days of the First World War. And the Great Hall where students graduate became a hospital.
Images of the men convalescing after being brought here.
At the university's Cadbury Research Library, they're digitising thousands of photos from the time and planning exhibitions.
We see people whose maybe parents were involved who are bringing us in items, and for them it's so very personal for them still. You think it's a long time ago, it's not that long ago actually.
There are many personal stories in this archive. This is a diary written by Private Benjamin Gordon Williams of Moseley in Birmingham. He was stationed out in Egypt and the Mediterranean. 30th of August 1917, he says, "I was woke at 1 a.m. to hear shells bursting over the hill 300 yards away. 4 prisoners came down today." Now his diary finishes in June 1918, but what we don't know is what happened to Private Williams after that date.
The extensive archive will also reveal the role played by Birmingham's famous families like Chamberlain and Cadbury. Historians say the world is still living with the consequences of that conflict.
A lot of the problems that we face in the Middle East today, in places like Iraq and Syria and Palestine, are directly traced. You can trace directly back to the First World War itself and the peace treaties that came out of it.
Many who were alive in 1914 never lived to see the end of the war, but marking its centenary will ensure their memory lives on. Kath Mackey, BBC Midlands Today, Birmingham.
And you can find more about the war, its continuing impact and the BBC's plans for the centenary by going online. Now, as we were